What's up, it's Cody, welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to be running a pre-save campaign using Facebook ads for a new song that is just about to come out. Now if you're brand new to Facebook ads, not to worry, I'm going to walk you through step by step on everything you need to do to run this pre-save campaign. But if you haven't checked out my last video, it was on how to set up your Facebook ads account and how to verify your own domain. So be sure to go check that out down below if you haven't yet, because that's very important to get everything set up for this next step. So let me jump right in the computer here. This is your Facebook business suite, and we're going to be running ads for a band called Lookalike who has a song coming out this Friday. So to get to this page, all you're gonna have to do is go to business.facebook.com and log in, and it will bring you to this landing page. And this is how we're gonna be able to navigate to all the different sites that we're gonna need to start running our ads. Now, really quickly, if you don't know what a pre-save is, basically when the song comes out, which for us is on Friday, that song is gonna be automatically saved to that listener's library on Spotify. And this is really good for helping the Spotify algorithm pick up your song and push it to more people, because they want to see on the very first day that you're getting a bunch of new people over to the platform and listening to your music. So running a pre-save campaign can be a really effective way to help get yourself on some bigger Spotify playlists. So let's jump in and set this up. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have to set up an audience. This is basically who our ads are going to be ran to. Now, there are a few different audiences and a few different ways you can go about this, but let me show you what I like to do. So if we go to more tools, we can click on audiences right there, and that will bring us to this page. Now we have 4 different options of different types of audiences and people that we can try to push this song to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and set up a custom audience. So if I click on custom audience, I'm gonna go ahead and choose Instagram account and click next. So this audience that I'm gonna be creating is gonna be for anybody who's interacted with the Instagram page within the past 180 days. So basically, if anybody's liked a photo or commented on a photo or sent you a message on your Instagram page, this is who this is gonna target. And we're gonna target people who are similar to these people and have similar interests. Now, if you don't have much traction on your Instagram page, I would highly recommend a week or 2 weeks before trying to build up a bit of hype on your Instagram, posting regularly and lots of stories, and just trying to get as much engagement as possible, because that's gonna make our ads a lot more effective and reach the right people. So for the source, I'm gonna go ahead and select Instagram page, which is We Are Luna Coast. And then as for events, we are gonna wanna select anyone who's engaged with your professional account. And like I said, this includes people who visited the profile or took an action on your post or an ad, such as a like, comment, save, or swiped through. So that is exactly what we're looking for. And we can actually set this up for anybody within the past 365 days. Now, since this band hasn't been posting a whole lot and their Instagram has been a little slow, I am gonna leave this at 365 days. Normally I only go with 180 days, half of a year, but for this case, I'm gonna leave it at a full year. Now for the name of this audience, I'm gonna call it IG engagement. And then I'm not gonna put a description because I know what it's gonna be. And I'm gonna go ahead and create that audience. Now, once that audience is created, you will see it right here. Size is below 1,000, but it's still populating. It's still trying to figure out all the people who are there. This could take a few minutes or even a few hours sometimes if it needs to figure out everybody who's engaged with your stuff. It's going back through your Instagram account right now and trying to find everybody who's ever interacted. Now, what I'm gonna do in the meantime is I'm gonna go ahead and click on this. And so this is just the people who have actually engaged with it, but this is gonna be a pretty small number. It might actually end up being below 1,000 people, and that's not a very good sample size to market to. So what we're gonna do is click on that, and we're gonna go create audience, and we're gonna create a lookalike audience. Now, what a lookalike audience is it gathers the people from the audience, this Instagram engagement audience, and it's gonna find people who like similar things and interact with similar things, who are maybe from similar parts of the world. And it's basically gonna find people who would most likely like our band and like our music. So it's gonna do all the work for us. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and create new source. And this source is gonna be from our IG engagement, the audience that we just made. And so it's gonna find people who are similar to those people, and then we get to select where in the world we want these people to come from. Now, a lot of people think you might just wanna market to your home area. So I'm from Canada, so you might think we just wanna market to Canada and the US and maybe the UK, but actually what I like to do is I like to hit the entire world. Well, everywhere that Spotify is available at least. So if you go to Google and you search where is Spotify available, you will find this page from Spotify with a list of all of these different countries. Now, this is probably the most tedious part of this whole process, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna enter every single one of these countries into here. So let me do that really quick and tune back in once I'm done. And New Zealand, there, we got all of them. Holy, that was a bit of a process, but nonetheless, we made it through. Now, if I scroll down here, you'll see that this lookalike audience is gonna be about 23 million people, which is perfect. Now, if you can scroll this up and you can get the top 2% of lookalike people, top 3%, but these numbers are gonna be too high. I'm looking for something in the tens of millions range. So 23.8 million is a perfect amount of people. Now, I'm gonna narrow this down further when we actually create the ad. So don't worry if it's a little higher than 10 million, that's just a rough guideline. But yeah, if this comes up with only 1 million or 2 million people, which it shouldn't, but if it does, just pull it up until you hit about 10 million people, and then that's the size of the audience you're gonna wanna create. So I'm gonna go ahead and create audience. And there we go. We have our lookalike of our IG engagement. So if I scroll over, this will also need to continue populating. It's not gonna be ready right away, but that's okay. It'll only take a few minutes, an hour tops, I'd say, and then we are gonna have our audience ready to go. Now, in the meantime, I'm gonna create another audience. So if I go over to create audience, this time I'm gonna create a saved audience. So those we're targeting people who would like our Instagram account and kind of catered towards that. This band in particular, their biggest social media platform is Instagram. So I think that's a really good indication and a big audience size for me to try to target to. But for this one, I'm gonna try to narrow people down within the music genre. So they are a pop punk band. So I am gonna try to find people who like pop punk music. So I'm gonna call this my pop punk audience. And I want people who live anywhere in the world. So let's go ahead and include, this one's way easier. You can just go worldwide here, thankfully. And boom, that's gonna be everybody in the world. Age range, I always like to select a pretty broad age range. These guys have a bit younger following, maybe 18 to 34, but I'm gonna drop that all the way down to 13, and I'm gonna have this all the way up to 40. So we're gonna be targeting anybody between the age 13 and 40 with this specific audience. All genders, languages, I'm gonna go with English. I don't always select an language because music is a universal language, but this is an English song, and a lot of this is gonna try to create conversations with people. We're gonna be chatting with them and hitting them up in the DMs on Instagram. So I wanna make sure that we're targeting mainly English speaking people here. Now, detailed targeting. This is where we're gonna need to try to find bands that we think have a similar sound to this band. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to find a few. I might have to try a couple different bands within the similar genre, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add a few pop punk style bands in here. Okay, so I have a handful of bands here, but if I scroll up, I'm still only at about 3.5 million people. And like I said, I'd like to try to get this up closer to 10 million, especially once I narrow this down to people that use Spotify. It's gonna be a lot smaller. So let me see if I can add a few more bands and try to broaden this up a little bit. Great, and that got me up to 9.3 million. I just noticed one of my phone panels fell down. There was actually an earthquake here over the weekend. It was a small one. There was no damage. Everybody's fine. But my phone panels haven't been staying up since. Sorry, side note, just wanted to throw that in there. Anyways, there we go. So 9.3 million is gonna be a lot better sample size than the 3 million that we started with. So there's a handful of bands with a similar genre. Now this is gonna vary depending on your type of music, so go ahead and feel free to find a few bands that you think have a similar sound to you, or that inspire you, or that you think fans of their music would also like yours. So now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and create this saved audience, and there we go. I'm gonna have two great audiences to start with. I'm gonna have one of people who like pop punk music, and then another one of people who are similar to people who already follow us on Instagram. So this is a great starting point for our audience. Now, the next thing that we're gonna have to do is go ahead and create our ad. So if I go back to this business manager page, under more tools, there is ads manager. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now, this is gonna be our home. This is the mothership. This is where you're gonna spend most of your time when working on Facebook ads. So it's pretty simple. I know it looks pretty confusing with all these different tabs and there's a lot going on, but trust me, you'll get really familiar with it and be very comfortable with this page probably after this video. So let's go ahead and click create to start creating our ad. Now, the first thing it's going to ask us is what type of campaign we want to do. Now, I normally like to run conversion campaigns. What a conversion campaign is, it's going to target a specific action on your page. So if we're sending people to a landing page and we want them to click the pre-save link on Spotify, that's what it's going to try to do. It's only going to count a conversion as somebody who clicks on that link and pre-saves the song. But since the audience is going to be pretty small with this band and I don't have a lot of traffic to work with, or they haven't had a lot of video views or a lot of Instagram engagement, I'm gonna need to try to gather some information for when we start running our ads. This is another great thing about running a pre-save campaign. Apart from just the pre-save itself, it's a great way to gather information about people who like the band. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a video views campaign. I'm gonna try to get these ads and this video seen by as many people as possible. And it's gonna help collect data and get a really good understanding of exactly who we need to be targeting and what we're looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and click continue. Now, from here, we are in the beginning of the campaign. So I'm gonna go ahead and just name this Jaded Acoustic. Oh, I can't spell it. So I'll name this Jaded Acoustic Video Views. Just so that I know, this is gonna get quite populated as we start running more ads and more ad campaigns. So keep it neat, keep it clean. It's gonna help you down the road. Trust me on that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down. There's a lot of information and a lot of stuff here, but none of this is gonna be too important. What we can do is we can basically just put in the title of our campaign and what type of campaign we want, and then we're gonna be able to go to our ad set. Now, there's 3 different levels to this. There's our campaign, there's our ad set, and then our ad. You can have multiple ad sets within a campaign, and you can have multiple ads within an ad set. So think of it like a tree. It branches down and gets bigger and bigger. Now, basically what an ad set is this is your target audience. This is those audiences that we just created. So if we wanna target 2 different audiences, our Instagram one and our pop punk genre one, we're gonna have to create 2 different ad sets. So I'm gonna go ahead and start creating the first ad set, which is gonna be our Instagram engagement. Now, for your daily budget, go ahead and choose whatever you're comfortable with. I think $5 or $10 a day for a pre-save campaign is pretty good. Since I'm gonna be running 2 different ad sets, I'm gonna run $5 each on them. So I'm gonna go ahead and put $5 a day on this one. And then when I create the next one, I will also make that one $5 a day. Now, if I scroll down, I'm gonna want this to start pretty much immediately. I'm gonna have this start at 3 p.m. my time. So for my end date, I'm gonna go ahead and select Thursday at 10 p.m. because that is when the song is officially out and I don't want to be running pre-saves anymore. That's when I'll start running the actual ad. So you don't have to set an end date if you want to just manually stop it, but I prefer this. I find it a lot safer and easier to do. Now for my audience, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on custom audience and I'm going to select my lookalike Instagram engagement audience. Now it's not populated yet. It still says it's fewer than 1,000 people. Don't worry, this will populate. I'm not worried about it at all. It's totally fine, but there are some changes we need to make here. As you'll see, location, it's only showing Canada. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that to worldwide. Now, for this particular video views campaign, I am gonna exclude one country, and that country is gonna be India. Now, the reason for this is there's a lot of bot traffic that happens in India, especially with video views and not necessarily conversion campaigns. I personally run conversion campaigns to every country in the world, including India, because it's a 2-click process. You need to click on the ad in the first place, and then you need to actually select on the action, which would be a pre-save, to do that. But since this is a video views campaign, and it's only gonna count a video view as a conversion, I don't wanna run these to India because there are too many bots out there and that are just gonna rack up video views and they're not actually gonna be real people. So unfortunately, I have to exclude India for this video views campaign, but once I start running conversion campaigns, I will absolutely include India because Indian people love to listen to pop punk music as well. Now, once again, here for age, I'm just gonna go ahead and broaden this up to 13 because I think some kids would like this music as well, and I'm gonna limit it to 40 years old because I haven't seen a whole lot of traffic above 40. There will be a few people, but I think the most cost-effective thing will be to stay within this age range. Now, for this, you can choose to turn detailed targeting expansion on. That is totally up to you. Basically what that is it's gonna be whether or not Facebook confines it to just your audience or tries to expand it beyond that. Now, as you can see here, my reach is 21 million people, which again is a bit above that 10 million that I normally like to go for, but it's still right within our specific and broad spectrum. It says it's right up the middle. If I am to turn on detailed targeting expansion, it doesn't have an exact number for how many it will be. Basically, if it's not finding enough people within my own little niche, it'll expand it outwards. And since this is the first time running ads for this band and they don't really have a lot of traffic to work off of, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that on. And this is something you can play around with. You could run 2 different ads, one with it on, one with it off, and see what works for you. A big thing about running ads and about marketing in general is trial and error. You need to try things and try new things, and what works for me isn't always gonna work for you, and vice versa. So don't be afraid to play around with these, get a little creative with it, have some fun, and really just run a lot of tests and see what works well for you. Now, one important thing that I am going to add in here, because we are trying to target people to Spotify, is everybody who views this ad is going to have to be a Spotify user. So if I go ahead and search Spotify in here, it'll show up. I promise you it will. There we go, Spotify, had to have the capital. So I'm gonna go ahead and make sure only people who like Spotify or use Spotify are being targeted with this ad. That's a really important part of this, or else I'm not gonna be advertising as effectively as possible. So now that I have that all set up, you can choose where you want these ads to go. So for sometimes I'll run manual placements, but again, this varies, and this is something that you have to use trial and error for. I've never ran ads for this band before, so I don't know what's gonna work. I don't know if Facebook's gonna be the best platform, or Instagram, or Audience Network, or Messenger. Typically, I don't like to use Audience Network, and Messenger doesn't seem to work too great either. But since I've never ran ads for this band before, I'm gonna run automatic placement and just let Facebook take the wheel. That's one great thing about Facebook ads, is they are really, really good at finding out who's gonna like your music and who's gonna respond best to your ads. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that on automatic for this particular ad set. And I'm gonna go ahead and click on next. Now, so just to recap, campaign is the video views, and then our ad set is the Instagram engagement group. We are gonna make another ad set that is gonna be the genre, the pop punk engagement group, but now we're gonna create the ads. Now, what I always recommend when it comes to running ads is run at least more than one video. For this particular one, I have 8 different videos that I'm gonna test out. One of them's a music video for a previous song saying new song coming out, pre-save it. And then the other one is a live acoustic playthrough. I got the singer to play guitar and sing the song, and I think that might perform well as well. And I just use different sections of the song. Feel free to play around with using the verse, the chorus, the bridge, various different parts. You may think that the chorus is gonna be the best part, but you would be surprised. For me, I actually find that the second verse tends to perform really well, or the bridge. For whatever reason, that's what people tend to like, at least with my own music, but we'll see what works well here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call this first ad music vid verse 1. And I'm gonna go ahead and connect. This is an important one. Make sure that you do connect the Instagram account, because we want these ads to run not only to Facebook, but also to Instagram. That is very, very important. Now, all I'm gonna do is go ahead and add video. Now, I have already uploaded all of these videos, but you can just go ahead and click here to upload and select them. You'll see these are the 8 different videos that I'm gonna be running. Like I said, try out a couple. I'd recommend at least 2. I normally run 4. For this particular case, I have 8 different videos, but they're all just sized up a little differently, so don't worry about that. That's just a little bit of a nuanced detail. So I'm running music video verse 1, which is this one right here. So I'll go ahead and click next. And you'll see that some of these are gonna have the wrong sizing on them. So the way to fix this is I exported 2 different videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and just change this out to the one that's actually the right size and click next. And then for this one, I am also gonna change it out to the one that's actually the right size. And now it may not show up perfectly right here, but trust me, it will work. So when I'm creating my ads, I'll normally create one long vertical, which is 9:16, and then another one that's a little bit more squished, which is 4:5. Now, if you want to do a video on how I create these ads, drop a comment down below, let me know. I could absolutely do that. I work in Adobe Premiere, but all the principles are going to be pretty much the same, whether you're using iMovie or whatever video editing software you want. But yeah, so these are just this nice little video that I created. It has the band logo up here. It says pre-save on Spotify, and then it's a music video from another song. Now, if I continue scrolling down, there are some more steps we need to do before this can go live. first thing we're gonna have to do is select our primary text. So if you'll see up here, it says Calgary's own pop punk band. I don't want it to say that. I don't think that sounds very good at all. Now for this primary text, it doesn't really matter. If I go to Instagram feed, this is basically just what it's gonna say in your post on Instagram. So I could say, pre-save now on Spotify. And it will show up in the bottom, pre-save now on Spotify. If you're looking on Facebook, it'll say it like that. And I think this looks great. Feel free to play around with whatever you like. You can add in some emojis on here and spice it up. But once again, whatever you feel is best for you, go ahead and play around with it. Once again, marketing is all trial and error, and running ads is all about testing out new things. So test out a few different things. You can add different options, and you can have various different ones that'll cycle through, and Facebook will find what's gonna work best for you. So go ahead and throw a few different things in there, play around with it. I normally like to do something a little more personal than just pre-save now on Spotify. You could be like, hi, we are Luna Coast, or whatever you prefer. Play around with it, have some fun. Now, the next thing we're gonna need to add is a website, because we want people to go to a website. Now, the landing page that I'm using for this is gonna be DistroKid. I'm gonna wanna send everybody to DistroKid. So if I go ahead over here and I click on hyperfollow, this is gonna be the landing page that's presented to us. And I can go ahead and click on the song we're promoting and go visit. Now, this is the beautiful landing page that we have. So there are a few steps. If you remember, we did create a pixel in the last video when we set up our account. Once again, if you didn't check that out, it's linked down below. Setting up your pixel is really important, because that's gonna track everybody who goes through this website and pre-saves it. So if you go to customize over here and go on edit this page, if you scroll down to right here, you'll see got an ad or an analytics pixel. And yes, we do. We have a Facebook pixel. And what this pixel is going to do is track everybody who clicks on this site. And it's going to help us gather more information and run better ads when the song actually comes out. So now to get this pixel number, what we're going to have to do is go back to our business manager page. Once again, this is kind of the home page for everything, and click on events manager. Now from events manager, you'll see here that I have two different pixels set up. So what I can go ahead and do is, if I hide that, I can copy this ID, and all I have to do is just paste that into right here. And once I paste that, I go ahead and click Save Changes, and it's in. Now Facebook is gonna be able to track all of this data. Now, if we wanna test this, which I think is a great idea, we can go ahead and go test events, and then we can add this URL and make sure that everything works. So if I go ahead and click Open Website, you'll see that a page view has been set up, and Facebook is now receiving this information. It sees that I visited this page today, and if I go ahead and click on pre-save, what it should do, even though I didn't actually do it, it should register a pre-save right here, and it does. Click Spotify pre-save. So this is great. This means that Facebook's gonna be collecting all the data of everybody who goes here, and we're gonna be able to target these people with our future ads. So that's once again why we're running a video views campaign, is we're just trying to gather data on people. And if we get some pre-saves along the way, great, that's a huge bonus. But more importantly, we need to figure out who our audience is so that we can more effectively target our ads towards those people. So heading back to our ads page and setting up our ads, I'm gonna go ahead and put in this website here as our URL. And now whenever somebody goes, there's gonna be a little pop-up, the little call to action. I'm gonna go ahead and have this as listen now. Even though it's not actually listening now, that's probably the best option of all of these. And you'll see now that when somebody's on Instagram, for example, there will be a little listen now option down here, which is perfect. This way they're gonna be able to go ahead, click on that, and it will take them right to that page. Now you'll see here there are a few more text options. We have the option for a headline and for a description. You don't have to do these, but go ahead and play around with them. Once again, you wanna make this personal. You're trying to connect with people and get them over to your page to go pre-save your song. So go ahead, type these in, see how it looks on all the different previews. But once again, it's totally up to you with what you go ahead and choose to put there. And now if I scroll down to the bottom, you will see that that is it. From here, we're gonna be able to go ahead and publish this, but I'm not gonna do this just yet, because once again, I'm gonna wanna go ahead and I'm gonna wanna double this. So I'm gonna set up all my ads, and then what I'm gonna do after I have all of my ads set up is I'm gonna go back to my main page. So if I close out of this and I go to my ad sets, I'm gonna find this Instagram engagement ad set under my campaign, head over to ad sets, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna duplicate this. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just create one copy, an exact duplication of it, but instead of an Instagram engagement, this is gonna be my pop punk group. So if I go ahead and click on pop punk, I also want this one to be $5 a day. But if I scroll down, I'm gonna wanna get of this Instagram engagement lookalike. Instead, I'm gonna use my saved audience and I'm gonna use this pop punk audience. So similar process to the first part, select your audience. Once again, we're trying to aim for this 10 million-ish. I am gonna make one small adjustment to this. Everybody who likes this, I also wanna make sure that they like Spotify, because once again, we're targeting for Spotify. So we need to narrow our audience down, and they must like one of these, plus they must also be a Spotify user. So if I go ahead and type in Spotify, once again, it doesn't show up. And there we go. So if I go ahead and click on Spotify and click update, it will update that saved audience for us. And now you'll see it's probably gonna be a few less people. Yeah, it's down to 4.6 million, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. So now anybody who likes one of these bands, one of these pop punk bands, they must also like Spotify in order for this ad to get ran to them. And once again, this is just gonna help create a more effective marketing campaign and get more people. We don't wanna be running ads to people who use Tidal or Deezer or Apple Music. While we may want those people on those platforms, ultimately, we are trying to trick the Spotify algorithm by getting a ton of people over to Spotify the day this song is released. And that's how we're gonna get on some big playlists on Spotify. Not to say that the other streaming platforms aren't important. I will often run ads for those platforms as well, but for this pre-save campaign, I want it to specifically be for Spotify. So that's why I'm making sure that all these people match Spotify. Now, if I go ahead and scroll down, everything will be the same. And if I head over to my ad, all the ad information will be the same. So that's why I say the first thing you wanna do is go ahead and get all of your ads set up. Now from here, if I wanted to add some more different ad videos or maybe a different ad set, a different group that we're gonna target with our ads, all I have to do is go click over here and I can quickly add a new one. And same thing if I wanted to do it with the ads. You just click on the action menu and you can quickly duplicate it and make any adjustments that you need. Now, once this ad is up and running and I click publish, it should only take an hour or so for it to go live. If it takes longer than 24 hours, I'd recommend getting in contact with Facebook directly and they will sort this all out. But normally these ads go quick and go live right away. So feel free to publish it once you think you're ready to go and start seeing the results. Now, what you're gonna expect for results is gonna vary based on your audiences and who you're targeting, but I think this is a really good starting point to getting your ads up and running and making sure that we're gathering as much information as possible for when we actually release the song and the song goes live and we start running ads for the song itself instead of just the pre-save campaign. So once again, this pre-save campaign isn't necessarily about getting the pre-saves, it's about gathering information and finding out who's gonna be receptive to the song once it goes live. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like down below. It really helps out me and my channel and will get this video seen by many more people. And if you wanna stay up to date with this process, I'm gonna be posting videos as I do more ads and start running out the actual release campaign. So feel free to subscribe so that you don't miss out. I'll also link a playlist to it all up here. So go ahead and click on that playlist if you want the previous video or some future videos to come. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.